Trustees of Fredonia, New York at 911 Church Street in Fredonia on this October 27th, 2025 at 6 p.m. I call this meeting to order. I am Mayor Michael Ferguson. Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, liberty and justice for all. Thank you. We'll call a roll. Trustee Esperson.
Here.
Trustee Twitchell.
Here.
Trustee Brockler.
Here.
Trustee Syracuse. Here. Trustee Wandel.
Here.
Thank you. Pledge, we did pledge. Approval of minutes.
Whereas members of this board have read the official minutes of the Board of Trustees regular meeting of October 14th, 2025, and be it resolved that the board hereby approves the minutes as entered into the official minutes, and be it further resolved that the reading of the minutes be dispensed with.
Second.
Trustee Esperson.
Aye.
Trustee Syracuse. Aye. Trustee Wandel.
Aye.
Trustee Twitchell.
Aye.
Trustee Esperson.
Aye. And I also.
And Trustee Brockler. All right.
Aye,
Before we go any further, I have something that was prepared by our legal team that they wanted me to start the meeting with. Before we begin the meeting, I'd like to take this opportunity to review the board's expectations and protocols for this meeting and any public comment. Typically, a reminder is read prior to the public portion of the meeting, which includes a request that speakers refrain from remarks that are not germane to any action taken or contemplated by the board. Please note that the village board is not legally required to permit the public to speak at board meetings or hold public comment, although meetings must be open to the public under the open meetings law. A board meeting is not a meeting of the public, but rather a meeting held in public, so those in attendance can observe the board discussing and conducting business. If the village board does permit public comment, the comment period is a limited public forum. The board can limit the topics of public comment, and tonight moving forward, to ensure the efficiency of the board and village business, public comment will be limited to the items on the board's agenda for the specific meeting. Speakers are allowed 3 minutes of speaking for themselves, 5 minutes of speaking on behalf of a public group. Please also know that obscenities, defamatory statements, and threats of violence are not protected by the First Amendment, will not be permitted during public comment. In addition, we ask that all individuals conduct themselves in a civil and respectful manner, and anyone engaging in disruptive activities such as shouting or outburst will be addressed accordingly. If there are any interruptions, we may be forced to close the public comment or remove disruptive individuals. Thank you. With that, this portion of the meeting is for public comment. Any member of the public wishing to speak, once recognized, shall stand at the microphone and state their name and address. Speakers will be allowed 3 minutes of speaking for themselves or 5 minutes of speaking on behalf of a group. I will ask the speakers to refrain from remarks that are poor in taste, slanderous, and not germane to any action taken or contemplated by the board. Is there anybody here tonight that would like to speak? Mr. Drayle? The microphone is yours, sir.
Thank you, Mayor. I've had two concerns about the resolutions before the board. One is about the benefit plan, the other is about Glasgow Park, and then I want to mention something about the North County Water District. Regarding the benefit plan for fire and police, the employer, the village, is required to contribute to the New York State retirement system for every employee who elects to take a benefit. The total cost to the village is calculated by applying an annual contribution that's determined by the State Comptroller's Office. My question is, this resolution, which authorizes these benefits, has an estimated cost been received? How much is this going to cost the village and its taxpayers? It's a deluxe plan. Has a cost been obtained from the New York State retirement system? What's the cost? Nobody has an idea. You shouldn't pass this unless you know the cost. We're under a tight budget.
We're not able to respond during.
Well, that's a public thing. That's a public figure.
If we're going to pass a resolution, I
You need to
understand.
have those figures. You can't pass a blank check,
They
Mayor.
were read out at the workshop.
Well, that should be made public.
It was.
The workshop is public and it's televised.
Well, can you make it public now? If the public, it's going to be on TV here.
I don't have those in front of me. Do you have those in front of you?
I think what Sam's trying to say is those numbers should be included in the resolution.
Should be in the resolution,
Correct.
not to exceed. By the way, I don't want this pause to be taken away
Right.
from my 3 minutes.
Oh, yeah.
Well, go ahead, and then when she
10
gets the
seconds.
figures, she
Go
can-
ahead, Sam. When she's
Okay.
looking for that, go ahead.
The other concern I have is Glasgow Park. The village acquired Glasgow Park in 1932, consists of approximately 43 acres of land adjoining Cassadaga Lake. If these lands were acquired or dedicated or intended for parklands, the lands cannot be sold unless prior approval is received from the state of New York and from the New York State Office of Parks and Recreations and Historic Preservation as required by law. Years ago, Glasgow Park was used as a park for village and town purposes. It's no longer used as a park, but that's not grounds to avoid state approval. I suggest that the board review the resolution in 1931 and 1932. I think those were the years that this was adopted. Also, an environmental quality review is definitely required before you make this decision. That property is on Glasgow Lake. It's a potential source of water in case we have an emergency involving the loss of life or property. Third question I have is about the board deciding to purchase water from the North County Water District. This means the village would likely be a party to that agreement. This agreement involves 6 other municipalities. If this be the case, the village share of costs would be based on its consumption of water. The costs charged to the municipalities would include all costs of operation and maintenance, construction costs, debt service, reserves, engineering fees, etc. The village, including the college and the Pompert Water District, would be by far the largest consumers of water and be charged the largest percentage of these costs, even though it might not receive any benefit. The district now owns the county $2.5 million for improvements already made. Most of those improvements do not benefit Fredonia, but directly benefit Brockton, Portland, Sheridan. Yet Fredonia would be the largest payer of those costs, and those costs would be reflected in water bills to Fredonia and Pomfret residents. Before the village goes any further, incurring any costs, including engineering, etc., the village needs to have a contract that's acceptable to the village. At this point, the village doesn't even have a draft contract to review and determine if it's acceptable to the village. What are the terms and conditions of the water district contract? No one knows. Now is the time to determine what the terms of the contract will be and if it's acceptable to the village, not after the village has spent millions of dollars only to find out the district contract presented to the village board is too expensive and not in the best interest of the village. At that time, it will likely be too late for the village to change course. You don't buy a house without first inspecting it carefully and making sure the terms are acceptable and affordable. The same concept applies to purchasing water from the North County Water District.
Sam, I assure you, we do have a draft contract
Well, why hasn't that been made public?
because it's a draft contract.
Yeah, it's still a public document, whether it's a draft or not.
Same
People can
draft, it's the
comment.
same contract they have for all the
Well,
communities.
that does not benefit the village.
Okay.
That contract was signed, I was involved in that. I know what that contract says, and it's not to the village's benefit.
Thank you.
Now is the time to look at these contracts and get them in front of you before you go spending $17 million.
Is there anyone else speaking today before the board? Yep. Thank you. That closes this part of the public portion of tonight's meeting. Correspondence?
Correspondence dated October 20th, 2025 was received from the staff at Village Hall requesting the day after Thanksgiving, November 28th, 2025 off.
Be it resolved, the Village Hall offices will be closed Friday, November 28th, 2025, the day after Thanksgiving, and that each village employee will use a personal or vacation day.
Second.
Trustee Twitchell?
Aye.
Trustee Wendell?
Aye.
Trustee Esperson?
Aye.
Trustee Syracuse?
Aye.
Trustee Broccoli?
Aye.
So passed. Mayor's report. On October 15th, unfortunately had to attend the wake or Carl Brandt We also attended the funeral on October 16th. Once again, we pass our condolences on to the Brandt family for many, many years of dedicated service from Carl, and we thank his family for the time that they sacrificed for the people of the village. Also on the 15th was White Cane Day Walk in the Village of Fredonia, and a tremendous turnout by many people, not only people who unfortunately are blind, but also those with dogs. I was approached, by the way, by several people with wonderful animals that have a complaint, and a legitimate complaint, that the Eagle Street Route 20 signal is not working, and those dogs are trained to hear a specific tone. When the dogs hear that tone, they are then allowed to cross the street. So it is a situation that I've not only spoken to our DPW, but also the state of New York, and they are working on repairing that as we speak. So they were out there the other day looking at the situation. So that is under repair. October 16th, we met with Spectrum News. We had questions about the drought. I want to thank the village for their participation in our conservation order. We successfully made it through the drought without having to go through any boil water orders or any disruption in service. And I also want to thank the people from the DPW and also emergency management, as well as Louis Fred and his team, as well as the Chautauqua County Health Department, who worked diligently with us to conserve that water. On the 18th, I was asked to make a proclamation for the 80th birthday of Mary Grace Privateer. That was held at White Inn, and we were happy to do that, and she was very surprised. On October 20th, I made good my end of the deal, and last year, Dunkirk beat Fredonia right here at the Orange Bowl with their pizza party, and over 36 individuals, both coaches, players, were there for the party. And last Friday night, we won it back. We won the official trophy back with a 16-7 win over Dunkirk in Dunkirk. And now Mayor Kate will now owe the Fredonia players a pizza party. And we hope to continue that tradition. Over 130 years of games have been played between the two communities. On the 21st, I was on Viewpoint. And also that day is when we did receive the lawsuit over the treatment or the water project. On the 22nd, we met with Chief Josh Myers to go through the winter emergency plan. Once we have that set, we'll be introducing it to the rest of the team and the community. On the 21st, or 24th, as we mentioned, the Central Connection Mayor's Cup was played, and Fredonia did beat Dunkirk on that. And on the 25th, this weekend, I was very proud to see the tremendous turnout and the tremendous effort put forth by the Fredonia Recreation Department and our team for the Village Trunk or Treat. Just had an overflow of people. And we want to remind people, and you guys will have to remind me, I believe it's 4 to 7 o'clock for
Yes,
Halloween.
correct.
Hear me out, as I've had a few people contact me in the last few days. Many of the side streets in the Village of Fredonia do not have lights. And while it gets dark now, somewhere around 5:30, we're just looking out once again for the safety of the community. Traditionally, usually trick or treat around your own neighborhood or your own backyard or a couple neighborhoods. And it's really kind of exploded over the years to travel back and forth between the different communities and throughout. But once again, it's 4:30 to 7. If you have any questions about that and would like to address next year's hours, please feel free to come to a meeting or give us a call. We have open ears, and they're more than willing to speak about it. That's my report for tonight. Trustee and committee reports, Trustee Brockler.
Just extend my congratulations to Scott Marsh for his retirement. And that's really pretty much it for me tonight.
Trustee Syracuse.
We attended the trunk or treat this past weekend, so congratulations to Angela McCowiak for pulling off her first event as rec director. It was great. It was well attended. I heard all good things. That's all I have to report.
Thank you. Trustee Twitchell.
Yes, I also attended the trunk or treat event, and it ran rather smoothly. I think Angela did a fabulous job, and her helpers helped move the line right along. And I know there were a lot of people that participated, even though we did have, all the parking spaces were taken up in the park, there were still people parked in the streets. So I just want to remind people to be careful with people trying to travel down the road, Seymour and Howard Street, because they did become quite congested. But in the end, it was for the children, and everyone had a great time. It was really wonderful. And I do want to take a few moments to comment about the selling of Glasgow Park. I'd like to refer to the Seeker Handbook on page 183. Municipalities are required to obtain the permission of the state legislature to alienate parkland via a legislative bill signed by the governor. And a municipality must complete a seeker before adopting its resolution to alienate parkland. And I believe we should go into executive session to discuss this sale of Glasgow Park. And when it comes time, I'd like to make a motion to postpone the ad for the sale of Glasgow Park.
With respect, we're not in the process of selling it, so we should probably make that very, very clear. We're in the process of analyzing, I guess it's about 42 acres that is available, and we are in the process of trying to determine, one, just what is entailed in that park, and two, what the value of that property is. So there's no active motion just yet to make any kind of
It would
sale.
be important, though, as I pointed out, about what's in the Seeker Handbook. And before we do anything else, we are required by law to seek the permission of state legislature to alienate the parkland, and also to have that signed, a bill signed by the governor. And the municipality must complete a seeker. So we're going to spend money on both of those things. And I just want to alert the trustees about this information, so we're not just spinning our wheels and trying to move ahead on this. I mean, there is a reason to go into executive session.
Certainly.
Anytime we're selling property or buying property, and I would like to go into executive session to discuss that more later.
Can we do that at the end of the meeting?
Yes.
Okay, thank
But
you.
first, I do have another reason to go into executive session that we need to take a look at. That's in regards to a lawsuit.
All right. Thank you. Anything else? I don't mean to cut you off.
Oh, that's all. Thank you.
Trustee Wendell?
Thank you, Mayor. Before I give my report, a couple of sentences in regards to our recent water situation here in the village. I'd like to express my gratitude and thanks to those involved in the recent water shortage and supply crisis. This includes Fredonia Water Treatment Plant Supervisor Louis Fred, our village EMS manager, Chief Joshua Myers, and our Chautauqua County Department of Health team. I appreciate your work and leadership to help the village navigate through a potential very serious event. Thank God it did rain and we're back on track. October 20th, I met with Water Treatment Plant Supervisor Louis Fred for plant updates. Number one, the chlorine project upgrade construction work has commenced, and to my knowledge, thus far, it is going well. SOPs, working with the superintendent on that. He's been very busy, so we're a little bit behind schedule there. The reservoir water intake repairs are ongoing. The structure is being fabricated off-site, and that is going to be eventually installed by the diving crew, expected very soon. Lastly, the construction permit by the town of Pomfret was issued for the construction work. Friday, October 17th, I met with Treasurer LeBeau. We discussed the status of village finances, including fund balances for the general water and wastewater funds. And then we also discussed allegations made by the plaintiff in recent lawsuit against the village. Lastly, Mayor Ferguson and I met with the DPW Streets crew this past Friday when they first started the day. And basically, we were there to help them adjust to the new transition and supervision and offered our support for whatever help they may need. That's it.
Thank you. I also want to let people know that two things. Doug Bunge has been put into a temporary supervisor position until one is hired or until he may take the job. We'll see how that goes. So we want to congratulate him. We also want to thank Scott Marsh for his many years, over 20-plus years of service to this community in good weather and in bad. And it comes with the job, and he has stood tall every time. So thank you very much for your service to the community. Trustee Esperson.
Just a couple things. I would have to say that in the resolution that trustee Tuccio was talking about, it's not a resolution to sell any property at all. It's a resolution to list the property to find out if it's even worth.
It says for sale.
It says to list the property. It doesn't say sell it.
It says for sale right at the end, in the town of Pomfret, for sale.
But we have to list it first.
Well, I don't
And
think
until we
should be-
list it, we won't know what the value is going to be. And if the value's not there, then there'd be no use doing it. So
We
we're only,
still have to do the seeker.
not to list it, we don't. To sell it, we do, but not to list it. So I want to point that out. I also want to point out, there was a lot of confusion about why we didn't try to get water from Castaiga during our drought. And the reason we can't do it is the village would have to apply for a withdrawal permit from Castaiga Lake. DEC would demand to be the lead agency in the seeker process for that project. DEC would oppose the application due to environmental impact. So we would not, unless DEC changes their tune, ever be able to pull water from Castaiga in the future. So if we, hopefully not, enter another drought situation, I know we did it, Sam, 30 years ago. Things have changed since then.
They haven't changed.
Yes, they have.
Emergency,
Okay.
DCs.
All right.
I gave you the information.
I know you did.
With permission.
And you did, and I sent that to Department of Health. They could look it over, and he said, this is why it can't be done.
Get it in writing if they want to say no, because they gave it to us
Okay.
twice.
Anyway, that's the end of my report.
Thank you. Treasurer's report. We have a presentation tonight.
Just have slides showing the profit loss graphs that I hand out to the trustees. I'll start with the September only revenue for general fund is $192,472. Expenses, $408,479 for a net income of negative $216,006. The year at the end of September, revenue, $968,690. Expenses, $2,931,121 for a net income of $3,037,569 for a fund balance of $2,092,471. These just show where we're standing at the end of September as far as our revenue and expenses go for each category.
I think it's a little hard for people to understand that, though, actually, yeah.
Is this waterfront?
We're on to the water fund.
Continue, I'm sorry, go ahead.
Water fund, September only revenue, $160,408. Expenses, $237,456 for a net income of negative $77,487. Year-end revenue for September, $691,520. Expenses, $836,588. For a net income of negative $145,068. Fund balance, $542,695.
Alyssa, so that didn't include the grant from the emergency fund, right?
Correct. So actually, our numbers will look a little bit better because some of the expenses, I believe it was about $90,000 worth of expenses are out of there from Labella
Right.
for that project.
Is that in the September expenses then?
Correct, yep.
Okay.
So the sewer fund at the end of September, revenue $130,357, expenses $118,407 for a net income of $11,950. Year end at September, revenue $612,071, expenses $701,744 for a net income of negative $89,673. Fund balance $747,329. That's that.
So, why don't you explain? We are at what point, at what quarter in our
We are the second month in the second quarter.
second quarter? So once again, the village does not work on the typical January to December budget. So in case you have questions, that's where we're at.
Treasurer, I have a quick question on the wastewater fund for the, I believe it's $50,000 EFC grant.
Yes.
Does that show in here?
That does not show in here at this time.
Okay.
Okay, additional reports. I have a report on code enforcement for the month end of September 2025. On building, permits issued were 25, inspections were 40, certificate of occupancy 7, certificates of compliance 18, violations 4, violations satisfied 1. Fees collected, building permits $5,253.49, rental fees $170, certificate of compliances $200, electrical license fees $300, hearings, water and sewer $600, total fees $6,652.523.49. Rental permits, inspections 4, renewals 2. Property maintenance found 0, removed 0. Junk cars and parts found 0, and removed were 0. Miscellaneous annual fire inspections were 2, fire notifications were 1, appearance tickets were 0, complaints 3, 2 were satisfied, demolitions. Stop work orders were 1. Stop work orders were issued because of improper construction practices or failures to get building permits. 35 permits were granted at $5,253.49 in revenue. The estimated cost of work for the month of September was $486,301. Also want to congratulate Code Enforcement and Zoning on the removal of the 5th house in the last year and a half. That house for many was on Berry Road and was affectionately or unaffectionately referred to as the meth house. So those homes that have been a little bit of an eyesore or blight or have had illegal activity continue to be removed from our roster. And I want to thank Chuck and his team for doing that, along with the help of Fredonia Police Department. Fredonia Police Department report for a monthly report, September 2025, total incidents reported 644. Fredonia Central School calls for service 4, accidents 17, arrests reported 30, vehicle and traffic incidents 95, domestic incidents 10, parking tickets 7. Respectfully presented by Chief David B. Price, Chief of Police. I also, while I take a time to admonish people for not stopping at crosswalks, I want to thank the people who are stopping at crosswalks. I've seen a great improvement there, even though many of our crosswalks haven't been identified by lines yet. I want to thank the community for their efforts in trying to keep our community safe. It has been noticed, so thank you. Resolutions?
Be it resolved that the Board of Trustees of the Village of Fredonia does hereby elect to provide pursuant to Chapter 674 of the laws of 2003, the age 55 retirement without benefit reduction of Section 375 or 375J of the Retirement and Social Security Law as presently or hereafter amended.
Second.
Trustee Twitchell?
I'm going to have to vote nay on this one because I know how difficult it's been to find police, and if they're going to be retiring sooner at age 55, it just seems to me that we're going to have a reduction in our police force. And also, for the amount that we're going to spend on that, I don't know if that amount was included in our budget. What was that amount, Treasurer?
It's
It was.
$150,465. It'll be amortized over the 10 years at $19,213 per year.
Okay.
So you vote no?
Well, the age thing really gets me. I'm sorry.
Okay.
I feel that, it's hard to find police. And I don't know if they think this would benefit finding somebody by having this there in place. I really didn't get a chance to talk about this much.
I mean, we already agreed to this with their union contract.
With the union contract, correct. But I wasn't here when that was discussed.
Okay.
So your vote?
I guess I'll change it to aye if it's going to be amortized over 3 years.
Thank you. Trustee Wendell?
Thank you.
I would like to see figures included in this. I think we briefly mentioned.
This resolution is directly from New York State Retirement, and it has to be what they have it as.
The way it's verbatim written?
Yes.
Okay. Aye.
As long as the information is out there for the public.
I mean, yeah, and we have that, so they can.
Trustee Syracuse?
Aye.
Trustee Brockler?
Aye.
Trustee Esperson?
Aye.
Passed.
Whereas the Village of Fredonia requires a consultant for the Department of Public Works, whereas Scott Marsh was the previous DPW supervisor and knows the operations thoroughly, and whereas Scott Marsh is willing and able to continue to provide consulting at a rate of $35 an hour to assist on an as-needed basis, not to exceed $10,000 annually, therefore be resolved, the mayor is hereby authorized and directed to retain the services of Scott Marsh.
Second.
Trustee Brockler?
Aye.
Trustee Esperson?
Aye.
Trustee Syracuse?
Aye.
Trustee Twitchell?
Nay.
Trustee Wendell?
Aye.
Whereas the Village of Fredonia owns property on Glasgow Road in the town of Pomfret, whereas the property SBL number is 065-889-181.00-2-1 and is 43.10 acres, and whereas the property is not being used by the Village of Fredonia, it's not been in use for many years, therefore be it resolved, the mayor is hereby authorized to list the property located at SBL 065-889-181.00-2-1 on Glasgow Road in the town of Pomfret for sale.
Do we have a second?
Second.
Trustee Brockler?
I'm going to vote nay on this. I'd like to have a little more investigation of the situation first, and I'd be more comfortable with if we were going to get rid of the property with either turning it over to the county or to the Watershed Conservancy personally.
Trustee Syracuse?
Because this is not authorizing the sale, this is authorizing the exploration of such, and it is listing it only, which does not commit us to a sale, aye.
Trustee Esperson?
Aye.
Trustee Twitchell?
Nay. As I read before, we have to do a seeker. This is not going to be, an easily sold piece of property, and we should have gone into executive session to discuss it before we came to this resolution, so I vote nay.
Trustee Wendell?
So I think for purposes of clarity, to add the language that we are listing it for what the worth of the property is. At the very least, I'd like to see this rewritten, so I vote to table it.
It says
How
authorized
would
to
you want to
list.
rewrite that to make it more clear? To list the property for sale. If we don't
Well,
list it,
that's it.
if we don't list it, we don't know what the value is
So
going to be.
we don't know what the value is, you're saying?
Right.
We
We're-
need an appraisal, and
We're getting
that's
one,
why
we're getting
we should
one, but
hold
they're
up
not going
on
to do
this.
it until we list it.
Right.
We're not, instead of paying for appraisal, we're getting a market value from the Realtor, said he would give us a market value
Well,
price.
you know what, John? I don't even remember speaking about this.
We talked about that at the workshop.
I don't remember going into executive session
We didn't,
to discuss this, and that's my point. My point is, anytime you sell property in the village
we're
or
not
buy
selling
property,
it. We're not selling it, we're listing
I
it.
don't care, but you're entertaining the idea of it, and it should be executive session material.
I would love to go
So
into
I say
executive
you're
session
totally
to
wrong on
discuss
this.
this. Okay.
Okay, well, we will be going into executive session.
Paul, what was your vote?
Table?
Can't table something that's been presented.
Nay.
Okay. Next.
Is it?
So it was voted down, 3-2.
Trustee Esperson,
We've already voted.
on the next.
Executive session.
That's it?
That's all we
That's
have.
it? Okay, we still need to go into executive session.
I'd like to make that motion to go into executive session to discuss lawsuit material.
Do you have a second?
I'll second that. We need to do it.
Trustee Esperson. Aye. Trustee Brockler.
Aye.
Trustee Syracuse.
Aye.
Trustee Wendell.
Aye.
Trustee Twitchell.
Aye.
Ladies and gentlemen, the next Village of Fredonia Board of Trustees workshop will take place Wednesday, November 5th, 2025 at 9 a.m. at the Board of Trustees meeting, November 10th, 2025 at 6 p.m. in this very room. We want to thank Chip for the broadcast tonight. And Chuck, are you going to stay behind for the executive session? Ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much. Have a great evening.